and Kia ora. मेरे नाम है Ekta Raturi और आप सब देखना चाहते हैं PahadiSwagger Talks. Today I have amazingly young, talented sports person with us who hails from Uttarakhand. He's reached heights which only some of us can dream of. He's been the under-19 captain for the Indian cricket team and led them to victory in the under-19 Cricket World Cup in 2012. And he's currently the Uttarakhand Ranji Team captain. So please let's welcome Mr. Unmukt Chand. Thank you so much for being with us here today. It's such a pleasure to have you.
Thank you, Rika. Thanks.
So first of all, I would just like to start off with your journey of cricket. How did you, when you were young, did you always wanted to be a cricketer? Or how did you think of becoming a cricketer?
Well, yes, like every other Indian, I started off playing cricket at the age of 4-5 years old in my locality, and I developed my interest over there. And then eventually, when my parents saw that I was breaking lots of glasses and hitting balls here and there, so they decided to put me into an academy, and that's where the journey started for me. So yeah, I started off pretty young, just like every other Indian, and I was fortunate enough that the passion has stayed within me till now, because many kids lose interest after a point of time, but I've been very lucky in that respect that I got my calling pretty early on in my career, in my life, and have been able to carry on since then.
So would you say that your parents have had a initial impact on your career, because they're the ones who put you into professional coaching and stuff, and that's when you realized that you were good enough to go on and play further?
Obviously, parents have a big role. My uncle as well. We had a joint family at that time. So my parents, my uncle, all of them have supported my cricketing endeavors. Though I was very passionate myself, I remember I getting up early at 5 o'clock in the morning and telling them to take me to the park and throw balls at me. And that's why I started practicing. And obviously, they also did not hesitate from sending me to an academy post school. And so you need an environment where you get support from family, because obviously there's no guarantee in sports, as in life as well, but still looking at 20 years before, sports wasn't a big career option for many.
Yeah. So as you said, 20 years back, it was quite hard. In India is such a massive country with so much talent, and almost everyone is in love with cricket. So did you ever feel pressure, not from your parents, because you said your family's been quite supportive, but from people around you, that you're going into sports and you should maybe choose an academic career, be a doctor, engineer, or a lawyer, or everybody's around you's being supportive?
Well, everyone has been supportive in a way that my parents are teachers, so I've always been a good student, and though cricket was very, very integral to my journey, I loved playing the sport. I remember till 8th standard, I was always I used to say that cricket is my second option. My first option is something into I'll be academically, I'll be doing something, and I was good in studies as well. So I never had this thing of choosing one thing, because obviously as long as I could manage both, there was no pressure from my parents as well. So no one actually came up to me. If I would have been struggling with studies, then might be situation would have been different. But because I was doing equally well in studies, I never was told to not play cricket in my early days, of course. But then eventually, when I was in 9th, 10th, I started playing for the state and started doing really well. So obviously, then the path became very clear that it's what we have to go forward with.
Definitely. I think it's a great thing that you went forward with that. Now you've also written a book from your academics. I just remembered you've written the book, The Limit, if I'm not wrong. I was reading on Google books, whatever I could read off it. It's so beautiful how you've said your memories with Sachin Tendulkar. So why did you feel the need that you need to document your, say, life or your cricket career? Did you feel it for yourself or your fans, or what did you feel the need for?
Well, again, I wanted to write a book sometime in my life. I did not know that it will happen so soon in my career. I have been regular with my diaries since childhood. So obviously, I have a big compilation of all my diaries. And by the time before the World Cup, I thought about this, that I should rather write something now, because it was something very important in my life, the Under-19 World Cup. And that's when I started writing the book, where I tried and compile my previous diaries of trying to form a basis where I would want to tell people of children of my age that time of how to progress with cricket. So many children ask for directions. So basically, putting it into perspective, because I was very lucky to have played IPL, 2 years of IPL before playing the Under 19 World Cup, and having played Ranji Trophy, the domestic, since I was 16 years of age. So I've got everything early in my life. So I and also parents inquiring about how to balance studies, cricket, and so my different experiences with IPL, with Ranji Trophy. For a 19-year-old kid, I wanted to actually share those experiences because it helps them get a direction. So that was the motive behind the first part of the book. And second part, I started writing diaries regularly, before the World Cup and during the World Cup, because I have, it's a different thing when you write it in hindsight, and a different thing when you write it just at the moment when it's happening. So basically, if tomorrow's the final game, the feelings in the camp at the moment, with me, with myself after winning the match, how what's happening, what's going on, all those things. So I started writing diaries regularly. And the takeaway is that I was so sure that we are going to win the World Cup that 80% of the book was already done by the time the World Cup, got over. Because I was, obviously, if we wouldn't have won the World Cup, there was no point of a book coming out. But we were so sure as a group as well that this World Cup is ours. That so much of work had already been done before the World Cup had already got over. And then obviously, compiling the whole book and proofreading and all those things took time. So we could only release it by the end of next year. After that, so that's why it's been a great journey. I never knew that it could come out the way it did, and eventually it did. So basically, you just try to do the small things, and eventually you reach a certain stage. So book also happened out of, when I look back, it just happened. I started writing, and book came out.
That's great. Just definitely one of those things you need to tick off in life. Write a book about something. Surely you've done that. So
Right.
just going back, as you said that you did IPL, you were the under-19 captain. You got success and fame even quite early on in your life. When you were getting it, did that ever scare you that everything is happening so quickly? Or were you always prepared for it? Again, sorry. So you got fame so early on and success so early on. You did IPL, you were the under-19 captain, and you won the World Cup. So did you ever feel like things were happening too quickly, or like you were getting, like they say in India that things are happening too fast for him? Did you ever get scared of that, or were you always thrilled and you knew that this was what my calling was?
Don't even think on those lines. As a young kid, it's nice to be getting to play so much cricket. So early in my life, I got the Ranji Trophy cap and the IPL cap, and then the World Cup happened. So obviously, it was nice that I was playing so much. I learned a lot. There was a lot of exposure, which is very much required for any sportsman. And I've been very thrilled and happy to have played so much of cricket so early on in my life. I feel that I've matured pretty early as well, which is good. What people see later on in their careers, I saw it pretty early as well. So I think that makes you a better person, or a more aware person in terms of cricketing knowledge is concerned, or probably in terms of you as a person, as is concerned, the human side of it. I mean, you learn to deal with things and the ups, the downs. So it's very important for your progress.
Yeah, surely. So you've been born and brought up in Delhi, I believe. But how have your
Right.
ties been with Uttarakhand, and how do you keep connected to your culture?
Well, my parents were born there, and obviously after marriage they came to Delhi, and I was born in Delhi. But as a youngster, kid in school, we used to go to our nani's place in Uttarakhand, in Uttarakhand every year during summer breaks, like every other kid goes to. So we used to spend around 2-3 weeks there in Uttaranchal, as a school going kid. But eventually, when my cricketing engagements became, started increasing, I could not find time to actually go there. But here and there, every 2-3 years, I keep going back there to just to chill and be around nature. It's always nice. Sometimes going for some pujas and all. Keep going there.
Yeah. So now that you're the captain for the Uttarakhand Ranji team, do you have to go more often to Uttarakhand or not as much, or is it just based in Delhi for you?
Yeah, I was with Uttarakhand last year, and obviously I had to spend a lot of time in Dehradun because that's where the academy is based. That's where our base is for the Uttarakhand team. So yeah, I spent a lot of time last year for the first time probably in Uttarakhand for such a long period of time. Let's see. I mean, the season is going to be new. We don't have much clarity about how things are going to be. So let's wait and watch for that.
Where do you see, as in captain for the Uttarakhand team, where do you see leading on the team now? Because it's quite a new team. And you've been very experienced with being a captain. So how do you see the team performing up? And what are your views on the new team?
Well, obviously it's a new side, new setup. The boys are good. They have been playing in Delhi UP, but playing a state cricket, board cricket for the first time has been different. Lots of good talent is there, so high hopes. I'm sure that in the next few years you're gonna see many more faces coming from Uttarakhand who are gonna go there and play high levels cricket as well. So yeah, big hopes from the kids out there in Uttarakhand.
Sure. So does it really this is obviously your first time representing Uttarakhand as a state, but since your
Mhm.
parents are from Uttarakhand, does it really what is the word I would say? Does it really matter to you that you have to represent a specific state, or for you it's just you're gonna play, so a team is a team?
I've played for Delhi for a long time, and last year was the first year with Uttarakhand. I've been playing India A's and everything. So obviously, being a professional sportsman, you got to play for. I mean, you might be playing for different teams, but then obviously your goal has to be same. You have to find sort of harmony in the group where you create an environment where it fosters growth, it fosters togetherness, and you go towards a common goal with all you've got. So obviously, it's cricket is the same. You might have different teams, different people, but cricket remains the same.
Yeah, sure. And being a captain, obviously a captain has more responsibilities than other team players, and there's certain things that you're the decision maker most of the time. So, starting off, did you think you have the leadership instincts that it took to be a captain, or is this something that you developed over the years?
I've mostly led teams since I was in school. Was playing so much of cricket, and as of my school team is concerned, so obviously someone who's better than others would get the captaincy. So I got captaincy pretty early on in my life, and then eventually when I played for the state, my captain my club as well. And then when I played for the state, I under 19, I got the captaincy in the second year itself, and because again I was playing Ranji Trophy by the age of 16 when I went to the under 19 camps, the India under 19 camps, obviously because I was the senior most player in terms of experience is concerned. So obviously they gave me captaincy again. So it sort of come to me naturally as well, and I've been doing it from the very beginning. In school, in classes, also I was made the monitor or the class representatives which you have in schools.
Yeah.
So pretty early on, I've been interested with these responsibilities. So probably something which came to me naturally. I would say
So you would say you're a natural leader from the beginning.
could be
Great.
could be. Could be
That's
though. Obviously, you try to learn, you try to improve, you try to improve on aspects. But I have been start from the very beginning, been leading side. So in terms of that, I know how to do that. Maybe it comes naturally.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And now coming back to your fan base, I was researching on you, and you have a huge fan base. You've got lots of fan clubs on Instagrams. You've got a huge following. Every interview of yours, people are like writing comments on the bottom. So, do you feel as a cricketer it's very important for you to have a fan, because essentially it's your game that speaks for you, right? Like if you have fans or
Right.
not, it's at the end of the day it's your game that matters. So do you feel it's important, or how important your fans are in terms of professionally or even after professionally? Like, do they motivate you, or does it give you a sense of pride? So just tell us a little bit about that.
Obviously, it's always nice to have people backing you, and I'm very lucky to have got some really organic followers. Because they have been with me through my thick and thin. So many of them, I mean, I would many of them I know who have been following me since my under 19 days and before that as well, and have been I mean, when I see messages from them, they're saying very enthusiastic even when times when I'm down, and they are the ones who keep it alive, who always show faith and believe in, they look after, they they really look after you in a way that, and they uh, really want to get inspired by you. So obviously it gives you a pump, and in that respect, yes, I have been very lucky, and it's important to have such blessings and good wishes from people around you. So it's always nice to be in the company of such people. It's really, I feel good when I read messages on the social media posts or anything which I put up, and so I think it's always a good feeling which takes you forward.
Yeah, and I think social media is quite integral. Thanks to that, we got connected for this interview. Um, but just with social media, do you feel, a cricketer 20, 30 years ago, we didn't have social media. They didn't have to post. Do you feel the pressure of having to keep your fans updated, or do you enjoy social media? Do you do it when you want to, or do you feel like there's a constant pressure that you have to be active out there?
No, not at all. We are not in the filmy world or the glamorous world. We are rather in a sporting world where obviously our sport speaks more than all these things are. We are not into the film industry that we got to keep up with the social media game. So obviously it's always at leisure. It's always when I want to. If it's and mostly my stories, my posts are uh, because it's I'm in a lucky position that I people are looking at me. They look up to me, and I feel responsible that whatever I do, whatever I basically it's sort of also inspiring them to do things. Especially these times that. So that's why I post my workout videos and something which whatever I'm doing, because we all learn from each other, and obviously if they look up to me, I really want them to pick up the good things, good parts, and the important parts, and make this world a better place. So obviously, it's completely up to me. Sometimes I go off social media. Sometimes I become too engaged as well. During these days when COVID days when outside world is a bit quiet, so obviously the engagement has become more. But I'm sure when the tournament starts and everything, then obviously it goes down to a bare minimum.
Definitely. Coming back to you said COVID-19, we know in
Right.
these uncertain times in India. So, what have you been up to? We've seen on your social media you've been doing a lot of fitness. But anything apart from that you've been up to? Because you've got so much free time that you wouldn't have maybe otherwise normally. So, how has lockdown been for you?
Obviously, fitness has been very regular and consistent with it. It is important for our sport and also for good mental well-being. Mental physical well-being. You start your day with something physical activities and all those things keeps you in a good stead mentally as well. When you know that you're going to spend the rest of the day at home only. So that is happening. Otherwise, basic household chores are happening. Lots of reading, lots of watching documentaries, movies, lots of little bit of cooking as well. Little bit of learning new things as well. Took up a few courses as well. So just like that, yeah. I mean, all these things are going on.
Yeah,
Lots of family time, just
sure.
like anyone else around the world.
Yeah, I think we've done a lot of cooking during the lockdown that we've had here. I think we've got a few.
We've all done that.
Yeah, there's definitely going to be new master chefs coming out of lockdown. Um, but regarding this lockdown situation, were there any tournaments or games that were supposed to go on right now that have been stopped, and you're not sure if when they're gonna open up again and what's going to happen?
Many. I mean, many. Everything has stopped only. So we have no clarity as of now, but I'm pretty hopeful that by the end of September, October, something is going to happen. Our cricketing season starts in October, around October, November. Pretty hopeful that we'll be getting on with the season.
Enough. Just coming back to your career, and even I put this question in your person. Every person has difficult times that they go through within their career or their personal lives. And the youth today, I think most of the youth finds it very hard to deal with these sort of things. So, whenever you've had such situations in your life, how have you coped with, maybe failures or personal problems, and not let that affect your work or your game?
Well, one has to understand that failures and success are part of what anything you do. It's not always one thing. You know, as they say that this too shall pass is one of the sayings. You got to. I mean, I've been lucky that I started off with a solid success graph in my life. So I've seen a lot of success. So that gives me a lot of faith and belief in myself. And when things don't go my way, then I look up to those times that I've been very successful as well. So it won't take much time for the things to change again. And so you just got to keep working. That's the most important. Work on yourself, on your game, on whatever aspect you have to address, and get on with it. I mean, there's no time to think about XYZ things. I mean, thinking and taking to so many weird places you don't want to be in. So you got to focus on things which you got to do, and then obviously success and failures. I mean, these things will always, it's like the two sides of the coin. You'll be seeing both of them in your careers, and one has to be at equanimity with both of it is.
Definitely. I just remembered something that I really wanted to ask. As you've mentioned that you've had a really successful career as well from the starting off, and we all know the Indian expectations is very big, whether it's from family or whether it's from your fans. You've got a lot of fans. So, do you ever feel like their expectations can be a burden or can pressurize you, or do you not let that affect you in any way?
Yes, it may not be directly, but indirectly, yes, they would be doing it unconsciously. Yes, the expectations you do carry along with yourself. But over the years, especially after the under 19 victory, at that time I was getting a bit desperate because of so much of expectations with myself, and not just people, but my own expectations with myself. So have always been very high. But over the years, I've started to understand and learn that. Um, Learn to deal with these emotions, with these sort of expectations and all those things, internal as well as external. So maybe I'm better at it, and you keep improving with time, and you keep understanding what things are important and what things are not important. So yeah, I've learned to take it in my stride.
Great. Now coming to my closing questions, since this interview is for the people of Uttarakhand. For you, how important is it to keep our culture preserved? Because Uttarakhandi culture is one that is dying out. The language is dying out. I see that in my brothers and sisters. They can't. They understand it. Sometimes they don't speak it. Sometimes they don't understand it. The traditional things are dying out. How important do you feel it is for the new generation to take on this and keep it going, or do you feel like go with your flow sort of thing? What are your views on that?
Well, I also come in the same category of understanding but not able to speak Pahadi as fluently as everyone else. Maybe also because this has got a lot to do with families moving out of Uttarakhand over the years, and households not speaking too much. My mother speaks to me in Pahadi. Uh, my father does not, but had I been into this habit from the very beginning, I would have picked it up myself. But obviously, staying in Delhi from the very beginning did not let me speak in that language. But otherwise, my heart is a full Pahadi heart and full Uttarakhandi heart, and even though language is one thing, but I think it's important to always have a lot of faith and confidence in your roots.
Mhm.
We sometimes forget about that. Having it's one should be proud to being in Uttarakhand, being a Bahari, and I sure am, because obviously certain traits which I have been given to me through my ancestors, through my ancestral places, my all those things. So I feel that I feel a strong belonging to my home state, to my Uttarakhand state, because early on as well, I used to go to Uttarakhand pretty often, and that got my connection to that place pretty much more as compared to someone who does not go to Uttarakhand that often. So obviously, visually and physically going to that place is important, obviously, for many people. But unlike you, I mean, you guys are in others who the world able to go to Uttarakhand that often, they might lose a connection. But I think it's always if you always feel proud of your origins, I think it's the most important fact. And I see that people are not very proud of, of it, which is somewhere not a good thing. And I always take pride in calling myself a Pahadi, and it's a nice feeling whenever I see any Pahadi excelling in other areas of life as well. You see singers coming from a state. You see so many. I mean, cricketers itself. MS Dhoni, Rishabh Pant, Manish Pant, all of them are Pahadis, and they are part of the Indian team. And it's always nice when you see and you connect as well. I feel that whenever I meet a Pahadi in my field or anywhere else, the connection is more because you relate to each other more, and it's always nice to have someone from your backyard.
Definitely. I think that's a wonderful thing you've said, and I would like to reiterate it again that it's not uncool to be Pahadi. You should be proud of your cultural roots. And I think it's very important to see, youth people out there. And it's very good that we have people like Unmukt here who've done such great things, and we have role models, for the young generation to look up to. And yeah, that's all I just wanted to say. Lastly, I'm just going to say, is there any message that you would like to give to someone who maybe is inspired by you or aspires to be like you and wants to be a cricketer? Is there something, any piece of advice or any message that you would want to give out?
Well, to all those hearing this, I would just want to say that be true to yourself. Whatever you do, any profession you are, just stay honest with yourself. Because being honest is something which is very important. Whatever you do it. Do it because there's a certain purpose behind doing that thing. Work hard for that. Stay disciplined towards it. Nowadays, what I see is that you might people the time for that, the focus point or concentration point, or probably staying with one thing is pretty short now. People are moving, changing things very very quickly, so it's important to stick to one thing and keep at it if you want results to come your way, right? So stick to it. uh, it's always important to learn new things, do that. And I think again the basis is being honest with yourself. If you're honest with yourself, then probably everything falls into line. Everyone knows what to do, when to. It's only about acknowledging that, being responsible towards yourself and being a responsible citizen yourself, and then that's how you make changes in your family, with yourself, in your country, and wherever you are in the world.
Thank you so
So
much.
yeah, that's my message to everyone.
That's a wonderful message. And thank you so much for being with us today. It was such a pleasure talking to you. And as for the rest of you, please stay tuned and we'll have more content coming out soon.